Hey, what's up? So today I have for you a Zombie World deck profile. I really love this deck. It is one of my favorite decks of all time. Whenever the structure deck came out, I wasn't playing at the time, but then later on, whenever I found out that these cards exist, I instantly loved them. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, if you already watched some videos on my channel, you know I like control a lot more than just spontaneous stuff. So most of this deck is going to have a lot of control with it. So first we have the best zombie monster to ever exist for the archetype is Unizombie. What this does is you can target one face-up monster on the field, discard a card, and if you do, increase that target's level by one. So this deck has to play out of the graveyard, which is kind of how the meta is running right now. But there are also a lot of cards that are anti-graveyard, so you have to be careful with this deck whenever you're playing with it. Don't worry, I have some other things too that can help with you getting into your graveyard. So, then this reads: you can target one face-up monster on the field. Monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn except zombie monsters, and send one zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, increase that target's level by one. So you can use this effect twice on itself to discard and to also send from your deck to the graveyard, which is what you really want to do because some of the time you might only draw this and not be able to use the first effect, but luckily you have the second effect to get something in the graveyard. It's just really good with getting zombies into the graveyard a safe way. However, a lot of decks right now, if this somehow gets negated, or even the next card I'm about to mention, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle to kind of continue on, just because you need these cards to help you win. So next we have three Sharinuri Solitaire. Um, what this does is you contribute one zombie monster, especially one zombie monster with zero defense from your deck. That's honestly all you want to do. You don't really need the next effect, which is for other Sharenaries, which we don't run. But this is basically to get out your Unizombie. So you want to send itself to special summon that Unizombie so you can continue your plays. It is good though to have a level 4 zombie monster in the graveyard though, so that's why I'm running three of this. Also, I think one other target in the deck for this. So, oh, here it is. So the next target is Glowbloom. However, you want to usually send this off a Unizombie because its effect reads: this card is sent to the graveyard. That's in any way. You can banish this card from your graveyard and add one level 5 or higher zombie monster from the deck to your hand. Or if you have the field spell, which is Zombie World, in the field zone, you can special summon it from the deck instead. And in either case, you can't summon monsters except zombie monsters, so it locks you into zombies after you use this effect. I thought about running three, but I think that was just a little tiny bit too bricky, and I can also fill that spot in with something else. Um, I think two is perfectly fine because we only run two of the boss monster, which we'll get into here in a minute. Um, but I think two is just fine, so you don't really want to see it in your hand. If you do, you still have options with it. Um, However, you can also use Sharinuri to special summon itself out it out because it has zero defense. So um, next we have two Necroworld Banshee. This is an awesome card. So what this reads is Zombie World in the field zone cannot be destroyed by card effects. Now that's while this is face up on the field. Also, neither player can target it with card effects. You can quick effect. You can banish this card from your field or graveyard and activate one Zombie World directly from your hand or deck. So if you have this in your hand, you can obviously normal summon it and then send it to activate a Zombie World. Um, but usually you want to try to get into the graveyard and then use its effect. Um, and that's all that does. So next we have an awesome boss monster. I love this card. This is my favorite card of all time. What this does is it's Doom King Battle Rock, and what it does is during the standby phase, if a face-up card is in the field zone and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position. Now that's in any field zone, so if they have a field spell, you can actually special summon this. Um, you can only use this effect, Doom King Battle Rock, once per turn, and once per chain. When a zombie monster except itself activates its effect except during the damage step, you can quick effect apply one of the following effects, but you can't use the same one at the same time in this turn. So the first effect is negate that effect, and the next one is banish one monster on the field or grave. Awesome boss monsters. Sometimes you need that negate, and a lot of the times you're going to need that banish. That also applies with you playing your own zombie monsters. So, for example, um, if I have Doom King out on the field, and then I have a Necro Banshee in the grave, if I use this effect, I can then use this effect to banish a card, or I can use. Well, I actually can't use the negate effect because it's only just that negate. Like that's what you would negate. So, um, you can even use it too sometimes depending on the situation, but normally you want to use the banish, so you can actually use this activate zombie world even if you already have one on field, and then use chain Doom King Bottle Rock's effect to banish something. So it doesn't even have to be that monster specifically, and that goes with every zombie monster you have in your deck. So if you activate Sherner and you have this on the field, you can use that effect. If you activate Unizombie, you can use this effect. It's amazing. It plays off of your own stuff too. And next we have um, two Mizuki and a Gozuki. Now, I used to run Gozuki at two. However, I didn't really think that that was entirely necessary because it was just a little bit too weird to play, for at least for my build here. So Mizuki, what it does, you can banish a card from your graveyard and special summon a zombie monster from your graveyard. So simple effect, it's awesome. You can get recur stuff. I almost want to run this at three because it's just a decent thing to have. Also, it's an Earth, so it can't get bestialed or anything like that. And then Gozuki is during the main phase, you can send one zombie type monster from your deck to the graveyard, and that's the first effect. And the next effect is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish one zombie monster from your graveyard, except itself, and special summon one zombie monster from your hand. So sometimes you might not have the zombies in your hand, but this still can come up. So that's why we're running it at one. And then that is it for those zombies there. Next, we have a kind of standard danger package. So we have Danger Bigfoot, one Thunderbird, one Nessie, and then we have two Mothman, a Jackalope, and a Tsuchinoko. Um, that's it of all the dangers. This is for the pop one. If you don't know what dangers do, you reveal it. You shuffle your hand. Your opponent picks one. If it's this card, then it gets sent to the graveyard. You get an effect. If it's not the card you revealed, then you can special summon it and you draw a card. So it has a lot of draw power, and it also is really good for getting your zombies into the graveyard. Um, so this one's the if it's sent, pop one. If it's sent, destroy a Spiral Trap card. If this is sent, add a danger card, danger monster from the deck to your hand. If this is sent, you both discard one, or sorry, draw one and the discard one. So it still gets things in the graveyard. And then this one is special summon a danger, and then this one is special summon itself if it's sent. So these honestly play really well with the deck too, especially the level threes, because you can make some decent lower rank synchros if you have synchros. I'm going to show you the extract here in a minute about the synchros there. But this is good for have a level four. That way you can do some XC's level four plays. This is good just to have, and then this is good just to pop something, and then these are good just to have beat sticks. So that's it for the dangers. I think that's a perfect danger lineup. I don't think you need any more. I don't think you need any less. And then next we have our, I think one of our only hand traps in the deck is three Effect Veiler. This is a lot better than Ash Blossom right now because not a lot of things in the meta are ashable, which I think is a little bit of the problem for the game because I think hand traps are just a problem in general. But a lot of things right now are not being Ash because you don't really need it. I'll talk about Ash here in a minute as well. But 3 Vec Veiler because it's just decent, it's just negate something. You basically have 2 negates if you have a Doom King and you have a Vec Veiler, so that's really good. Alright, next we have the spells, and now we have 3 Zombie World, which is one of the best floodgates to ever exist. Um, it just turns everything in the field or graveyard into zombies, and you can't tribute summon monsters except zombie monsters. So, um, it's an awesome card. The deck plays around this really well. Uh, you don't that basically turns their cards into zombies, so you can then use Doom King's effect to kind of just start negating and banishing and all that stuff. So it's really hard for them to kind of do anything. It also shuts down a lot of Synchro and XYZ plays, like uh, a lot of fusion plays too, because sometimes they might need a different monster than zombie. Um, However, I think this deck is literally 1 or 2 cards away from actually being meta viable, just because it's just it's just like that. So I think this deck's amazing. I think it should get all the help it needs. But Zombie World, and then next we have Dark World Dealings. Now the thing with this card is it's basically a free card for you. However, you do end up sending things from their hand to the graveyard, which is not what we really want. But I feel like that you can honestly plus more off of using Dark World Dealings for your own gain rather than what they can do. Now, if you're against Tier Elements, then you are going to have a problem. So to outside this out if you're against them. Next, we have Foolish Burial, common thing to have in the zombie deck. You need things in the graveyard. Then we have Terraforming. Um, that way you can get out. You have basically three ways to get to your zombie world. Even if you don't see it, you can still play this deck pretty well. This is more of a budget friendly one. So, and next we have Dark Ruler No More. Sometimes, if you're going second, or even just in general, you need to turn off their board. Um, it's just something that I think that a lot of decks should run right now. Um, you just want to be honestly a little bit of like as annoying as possible, um, especially with this deck. So you want a Dark Ruler that we could turn off their things. Uh, Next, we have our last three cards, which are going to be there can be only one. What this does is each player can only control one monster of each type. If a player controls two or more, send them to the graveyard. So basically, you want to have Zombie World out, and you want to make sure they have a card in their field or anything. And then you activate. There could be only one because they can't summon out anything else because then they turn into zombies and then they get sent. So it's really good for another floodgate. So this is a floodgate, and that's a floodgate. I like floodgates in this deck. I think it's the only way to work it. At least have it be meta viable on a budget. So, one thing I don't know if you've noticed is that this deck definitely is very, very susceptible to spell and trap cards. There is not really anything other than I think it's Danger Thunderbird that can really get rid of spell and trap cards. So you have to be definitely aware of that. And if you figure out something that you can use that can help you out with that, definitely do so. Um, I have some side deck options that we're going to talk about here that's going to help with that. So, all right, now we're on to our extra deck. If you watch my channel, like I said before, then you know that I like to leave some options. That way you're not feeling pressured to have exactly what I have because I think that's the correct way to play the game. Um, I just have a few floodgates in here, just things for you to think about. There's a few guaranteed ones that I want you to keep in mind here. Um, Definitely have two Abyss Dweller because sometimes this might go away and be used for something else that they might use, and they will try to beat over it. So you want to make sure you have two of them, at least two Linkuribohs for um, your Glow Up Bloom because you you can send Glow Up Bloom and get its effect for um, it being sent by just Linkuribohing. So if you have that in your hand, you have no other options, then you can just Linkuriboh it. So um, next is IP Masquerena that we can link climb a little bit, and then Durgarus. Um, that way you can have a little more draw power, or if you are able to go for game, you can actually use its other effect to boost everything. And then I just have a this is like one of the only good rank eights I have. You can have any rank eight here because you can have two Doom Kings out or even your dangers, the Thunderbird and the other one. And then a Trish is always nice. You might need to use it. And then this is for your link climbing. And then that's just it for the extra deck. That's all I really can offer because I think that you can really run even if you want more synchros. If you want to run other things that can help with your XYZ plays, it's up to you. All right, and then these are our honorable mentions. So the reason why earlier I said about Ash Blossom is that not a lot of things are ashable right now in the meta, but still have it in your side deck just in case you do need it, because you can actually play off of your Doom King with it. So if you have your Doom King out, let me just put it over here. If you have your Doom King out and you end up ashing something, this is already a zombie monster, so you can actually activate this effect. Unlike you would for Valor, because that's a spellcaster, because it's only a zombie whenever it touches the graveyard. It has to be sent first. So Doom King can actually play off of this. So that's why I want you to keep that in mind. Next we have if you feel like that the Dark World dealing is a little bit too much, use Allure of Darkness. It doesn't matter if you banish something out of your hand. There's only I think three or four. No, there's six cards in this deck that are not dark. So the odds of you just having that and this in your hand, um, is almost unlikely. But it's good to have Allure of Darkness if you need that extra draw power. Plus, you can get things banished, which I think you can actually play off of. So, next we have three Twin Twisters. This is for the back row hate. Um, Activation effects. Obviously, this is going to work for that. But it also has that discard effect, so you actually get to send something from your hand to the graveyard. That way, you can use it from your graveyard. So, uh, double Twin Twisters, and then this one I actually found. I actually picked this up recently from Magnificent Mavens, I believe it's called. It uses two plus zombie monsters to link three, negates something, and I think you could do something else, but I only read the negate. I thought it was really cool, so wanted to show it off. And then Vampire Froylan. This one's really good for trying to beat over things that you can't beat over. So if you feel like that you're finding yourself needing an extra target for your blow up bloom other than Doom King, then use a Vampire Froylan because I think that's a little bit better for just trying to get over things that you just need to. But that's honestly it for the deck. If it's not posted already, I'll have a better version of the deck that's a little bit more viable and a lot more meta relevant. So thank you.